we're back to Max Prep's National Signing Day presented by Old Spice. Adam Zucker here with Tom Lemming and Philip Fulmer, and Coach Fulmer is going to know exactly what questions to ask with this next interview as we welcome in Derek Dooley, who didn't have much time to assemble this signing class after Lane Kiffin, of course, left for USC, and Coach Dooley, the son of the great Vince Dooley, came up from Louisiana Tech. And Coach Dooley, you have some great names on this list. What was the biggest challenge for your first SEC signing day?
Well, I don't know where to begin to answer that question. When you come in, you only have 2 weeks left. Certainly there were a lot of challenges, but Tennessee's a great university. It's got great tradition. There's so much to sell. So it really made things a lot easier when you have a product like this to go out and sell.
Coach, wide receivers, you appear to be swimming in wide receivers now. Derek Rogers, a tremendous late catch for you. Justin Hunter, another one. I know that was a need for you, but all four of them, I think you have 4 or 5 wide receivers. Matt Milton from Southern Illinois. Do you expect any of them to play right away for you?
Well, you know, it's hard for me to answer those questions. I mean, I've done a brief evaluation of our team. I've watched every player on the team. But until we get out there and practice, until we go through training camp and off season, it's really hard to project how these guys are going to succeed and how quickly they're going to succeed. So really the work begins now, is developing the players, supporting them and encouraging them, and then time will tell how good this class is.
Hey, Derek, this is Coach Fulmer. I really appreciate how you've represented Tennessee the last couple of weeks. I know it was a tough situation, and you did finish strong, and that's a huge plus. And it's great to see you embracing our traditions and our rivalries that we have, and certainly you understand that coming from the stock that you come from and from your parents, and then obviously being at LSU and around the conference so long. I want you to know that I wish you well and will help you any way that I can. I know when I took over, my first challenge was to find some defensive linemen. And not as a coach, but right now as a fan and somebody that loves the university, who are we going to have at defensive tackle, man?
Well, I wish I would have had more than 2 weeks to find some defensive linemen. I can assure you we're going to work diligently next year to get some. But I will say I appreciate your kind words. You've always been a real fan of mine growing up. Of course, I wasn't always pulling for you, but I always had such great respect for the job you did and how you carried yourself and how you represented Tennessee. So I'm really honored and humbled to be coming in at this place, and hopefully we can have some of the same success you did.
Well, you certainly, have your challenges ahead of you, Derek, with the schedule that you have, and we were talking earlier off camera how hard it is at a place like Tennessee or Nebraska or Iowa. Those places, you have to go a lot of places to recruit. So pack your bags and make sure that you're ready to take 50 or 60 trips when some of your friends and neighbors to the south of you might be only taking 25 or 30. How did you find your first experiences with Tennessee as the prospects listened to you talk?
That was a definite new experience for me, and I didn't realize it until just a few minutes ago that we signed players from 12 different states. And I can tell you, those 2 weeks of travel, I woke up a couple of mornings not knowing where I was. I hit 3 states in a day. But I will say this. Within 4.5, 5 hours of this state, there is a tremendous amount of good football players. So even though it may be across borders, we still consider it local, and it really creates a neat bond that this program has that a lot of the other SEC schools don't have, to be able to forge so many relationships with so many people around the country. And I think that's one of the things that makes Tennessee unique.
Well, Coach, you do have one of your ball players, one of your freshman players, committed to Coach Fulmer 2 years ago, so you have him to thank for that. That's Jaquez Smith from Chattanooga, I consider to be one of the best pass rushers in the nation. And Jaquez is an outstanding ball player, but also an outstanding person. So I think you've done a great job in working towards putting together a top 10 class, and I'm sure Jaquez is at the top of it. What are your plans for him?
I'm struggling with the audio, so bear with me. I didn't get all of your question.
So what are your plans for Jaquez Smith, the defensive end from the Chattanooga area?
Oh yeah, well. Look, it's like anything. It's hard for me to really know exactly how these guys are going to pan out. You know, these players change so much over the course of a year. They change physically, they change emotionally, and sometimes where you think you're going to use him, he ends up being a phenomenal player somewhere else. Sometimes you think he's going to play early and he doesn't. Sometimes you think he's not going to play early and he ends up being an impact player for you. So I'm really just more concerned about getting them here, starting to forge a relationship, start coaching them, start developing, and then we'll see where it takes us.